Now, how do you pass the data from user list to user item for each individual user and see it on the page? Let's make it work. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this episode, I will show you how to share data between parent and child components. I have a starter repository as well as completed code on GitHub. If you would like to play around with it, I will post a link in the description. Let's get started. First, let's see what we have here and what are our exact requirements. So we can see here that we are displaying a list of users, but we don't see any details. So we have user list component, and in the user list component, we have array of users. This is a very common scenario. Usually you will receive this array from the database. Now, in the user list HTML, we see that we are rendering app user item for each user in the array of users. So in our case, we have 3 users and we will be rendering 3 items, and we can see it on the screen. Only we don't see the details of the user. We can see that user have first name, last name, and age. And in user item, we are just displaying the details about each individual user. Perfect. Now, how do you pass the data from user list to user item for each individual user and see it on the page? Let's make it work. We see that we have user item property that should hold all the necessary data. Once we go to TypeScript, we can see this property defined here. So let's use this property to pass the data from parent to this component, specifically here to this property. We can do it by adding @input. This input decorator means that this property is ready to accept the data from the parent component. We also need to import it, and it is coming from Angular core package. And now we can bind this property in the parent component. It can be done like this. We copy the name of the property, we go to user list, and we bind the data. So here we need to pass the object that will hold our user data. And it is defined right here, let user of users. This means for each user in the array that we have in our TypeScript, this array, this user property will hold the data. So we can just pass it here. We save everything. And perfect, we have our data. Now what else we can do? We can also push data from child to parent. Let's see it. We have here select user button, which is part of the user item. Here it is. And now in the user list, we have a small piece of functionality. We have handle select user, which just display an alert based on which user was selected. Let's wire this button to this functionality and make the select button work. Currently we click on it, nothing happens. Let's fix that. We can send data from a child to a parent in Angular using events. Let's set this up. We go to the user item, and here we see that we have select user. Let's use it. We can add @output. Only out we need capital O, and we need to add it to our imports as well, coming from Angular core. And here we have select user, which is of type event emitter. The combination of event emitter and output means that this is an event. And here in the brackets, we're just specifying what data we would like to send. So we would like to send an object of type user. Now, how do we use it? We actually go to the HTML page, and here we can see that this button has a click event. And when this button is clicked, select user emits event, and we are sending user item. So we actually have this all set up here. And our next step will be to subscribe to this event. We can do it by copying the name of the event, going to user list. Here is our item. We can do a little bit of formatting here, and now we can subscribe to our select user event. We are adding brackets, and we see select user in our suggestion, so we can add it. And here we need to pass a function that will be called once this select user event is fired. And we actually have it already. This is our handle select user. So we copy this and just add it in here. Now what is left is passing the data, and we can do it by calling this method and adding $event. $event is a reserved DOM event object, and it will hold the data that we are passing to the emit function right about here. So we are passing user item, the $sign event will hold that user item, and we are passing it to handle select user, and it comes right here. Let's save everything and let's see how it works. Our page is refreshed. Select user. Here we have Alice Smith 20. Perfect. We got everything working. Like and subscribe for more videos.